Charles is rather elegant, a very good newsman, I'm told, because I never really worked in news, so I can't speak to that, but I'm told he was a very fine, a highly respected newsman. And Mike Dan, my mentor, was anxious to get the ratings up because they were slipping a little bit because Murrow always liked to have these statesmen and, kings and princes and poets and all that stuff on the show. And Mike wanted stars. He wanted Mamie Van Doren, who was a blonde bombshell, and people like that, and Joan Collins. And so we were told to book that way. We booked that way, and Collingwood was furious. It was below his dignity interviewing these people from Hollywood. He was just always upset with who we had to interview, so I was always rubbing him down. One of the great moment on Person to Person for me was the interview of John Kennedy when he was a senator running for president. And CBS had arranged for him to do a half hour and Nixon to do a half hour. Nixon had done his the previous week. No, Kennedy was the first one. And had arranged for me to have dinner with Mrs. Kennedy and one of the writers I brought along in her dining room in her home in Georgetown. I mean, it was thrilling, Even then, before the Camelot, it was still thrilling. And we sat there. I can remember she gave us lamb chops that were so rare I couldn't eat them, and a salad, but I explained to her what's going to happen and that we'd have to start early in the morning and there was a bit of an invasion of her privacy. And she said, "What time do you want to be here?" And I said, "Well, we'd have to start setting up about 6 in the morning, in order to be ready to shoot by 10, I think." It was a big setup because you brought in all cameras and lights and stagehands and everything. Cables. She says, "Oh, that's not possible. 6 o'clock. The senator is out on the road now, and this Sunday morning is the only day he gets to sleep." And we got into a kind of a lively discussion here that finally we settled on 8 o'clock, which was going to push things because there was another show taping ahead of us with Walter Cronkite interviewing Kennedy for a half hour, just a straight interview. Then we came to do our thing. So I called the people at the Washington station who were furnishing the crew and told them it's going to be 8 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock, that they should show up. And I went home to bed, and I said, "Well, I'll get there about 9:30 in the morning if we start at 10. And a light rain was falling. I arrived, and I found out the following. The crew had never gotten the message. For some reason, I don't know how that happened. The crew showed up at 6 o'clock, knocked on the door. Kennedy stuck his head out of the window and said, "Get out of here. This is the only time of the week I can sleep." And there was a whole mess, and they ended up getting in there. And, and as I walked into the house the first time at 9:30, Jacqueline Kennedy was coming down the steps with her little daughter, who was about yay high. She was pregnant with John. She's walking down the steps in this lovely camel hair coat carrying her umbrella. And as she passed by me, she said, "You must be sure and come again sometime." I can talk about an icicle. So that was an adventure.